right now. So we're recording now. So obviously, welcome to Forex League public webinar. Very exciting. Where did we get all these questions from? We got these questions from the Discord. We had you guys every Saturday. We do the giveaway, $50 giveaway. Um, Part of the giveaway is we want you guys to ask us, any questions that you have, main questions, especially for you beginners out there. What do you guys want answered from me and Nick, from the position that me and him are in? So this is the list, that we came up with. We could start off with how to perfect entries. If you want, Nick, get started with that.
So, all right. So the first question, how to perfect entries. It's basically, it's systematic. It's obviously for our strategy. There's a few steps you have to take prior to getting into that. Basically, we'll start off with a top-down analysis. So this means we start on the highest time frame. We'll go to a blank chart. We'll start on the monthly time frame, work our way down to the weekly, daily, 4-hour, and 1 hour, and so on. And we actually won't even take trades until we've seen setups throughout these higher time frames until we get all the way down to the 30-minute, 1 hour, 15-minute, in which case we'll actually be taking the trades themselves. But there's quite a few steps that go into actually taking, a perfect entry. And the term perfect entry is kind of relative for your strategy. What we look for is completely different from what somebody else would look for, let's say. And what Angelo and I look for is a little, closer together, definitely than, somebody in a totally different course. But
Mhm.
for us, it would be one that makes a lot of sense that's in the direction of the trend because we're trend traders, one with a good amount of price action that's suggesting and, builds confidence in your trade and your trade idea. So, that's basically, I'll look for many confirmations, right, throughout the time frames, work our way down, zone in on price action, and try and capitalize on a move, at its earliest point.
Yeah. So for me, perfect entries would be trying to locate what is the main key level, what is the main order zone, I'd like to say. So what is the main zone that you're waiting for price to come into? And then as price comes into that zone, what are you going to look for? You're going to look for breaks of structure, breaks of minor support or resistance. Look for patterns in that zone, stuff like that, or you're going to look just for like selling pressure. So you look for exhaustion. Mainly what we'll do is we'll look for multiple confirmations. So I think at the point that we hop down to the 30-minute and the 1 hour, we're already pretty sure that we want to be into a position at the level that it's at, and then we're pretty much just looking for the first signs to buy where we can put stops in like a pretty decent spot. So
Right. So
just
many factors, definitely.
yeah, many factors. So let's go on to number two. How do you consider market sentiment when trading?
So I've actually been doing something, if you guys have noticed, for the last few months. Every time we post the analysis on the weekly analysis from our Sunday Market Blitz, it's always on the daily time frame or 4 hour. And you'll notice that I'll go ahead and mark the overall trend. So again, starting on the monthly, maybe it's in a bullish trend. The weekly is in a bullish trend as well, but the daily is in a bearish trend, and so is the 4 hour. I'll go ahead and mark those trends and kind of gain sentiment from that. So if I see that the monthly is bullish, but the weekly, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour are all bearish, my sentiment is then obviously more bearish because it's, we're zoning in on more recent price action. So, I'll always take all the time frames into consideration, kind of get an overall, general idea as to where the trend is going. And that's how I'll derive my sentiment for the most part, as well as some fundamental influences. But normally in a normal week with normal market conditions, that's how I'll do it.
Right. Yeah. So how do you consider market sentiment? So yeah, it's basically like what we teach. Top down approach. We're always going based off of the higher time frame, weekly, monthly, the moving averages. A lot of times we'll be looking at the moving averages. Again, that's the average of price over the last 8 or 18 days or so, however. And that's pretty much where we'll develop overall sentiment. And then the lower time frames, we're just trying to wait until things line up, or where we can recognize things in a way where we're comfortable with trading those positions, from zone to zone out here. So that's number two, how to consider market sentiment when trading. Let's go to it's number four, but it is number three. Do you guys have long-term stock portfolios? Which stocks to buy during a crisis? We both, have our own portfolios. I'd say right now I'm more invested in crypto, risk it all. So
Yeah,
right.
definitely more in crypto than stocks. Stocks would probably be our less invested. for sure. But
I think
I
me
mean,
and Nick at the moment are kind of just pushing, pushing for some gains. I mean, we're traders, so we're more kind of worried about Forex at the moment.
right.
But which stocks to buy during
Oh, this
crisis?
is actually an interesting question. Yeah, which stocks to buy? Because you see a lot of things are down, and everyone's like, "Oh, we should probably buy." Yes, it is a buyer's market. It has pulled back over 30%. So like it's obviously buyer's market, as they say. But some stocks more than others, like cruise lines, airlines, have all kind of tapered off. As the trade off is you've seen some rise. Amazon's going up. You saw like PayPal, online services like Zoom and other video convenience programs and stuff like Zoom have definitely been going up. But it's interesting to say because I mean I don't know if you've noticed a lot of people have been asking us, what do we buy? What do we buy? We see everything is down so low. Um, you know, just keep in mind when you're investing in the stock market, don't throw everything into it. Everything you have. Treat it as another kind of side business, something that you're not going to worry about too much. So
Mhm.
put some money aside, play with some stocks, buy some things that are low, and kind of just hold on to them for now. Don't go crazy, because I feel a lot of people are asking these questions because they're being triggered emotionally, saying,
Mhm.
"Oh, it's an opportunity to make a whole bunch of money," but just see it for what it is. Yes, it's an opportunity, but it's not a get rich quick kind of idea.
Right. If anything, what I would say is the best advice we could give you without being financial experts is to just diversify your portfolio.
Yeah. Yep.
Diversify your portfolio the same way that we trade 2%, on positions. If you only have $2,000 and you just buy all Amazon, I mean, realistically, you're all in. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
the
So it's
best
like,
the best advice that I've been given, from I guess someone with a little bit more experience would be if you're gonna try the whole buy low, sell high thing on stocks, set a percentage gain where you're gonna get out. Don't just buy and hold forever unless
right.
you're that bullish on the technology or on the product or on the person and you want to hold it for 10 years. Realistically, if you're trying to short term make gains, set your goal at 10%. It might go to 50% when you missed out, but who cares because you
Yeah, you
got
gotta
your
have a
gain.
plan. You gotta have a plan because that's what happened with crypto. You notice everyone bought and they're like, "Oh, I'm just gonna hold and hold and hold," and it's like you don't have a plan. When are you getting out? You're gonna get out when you've tripled your money, you doubled your money. That's when the emotions kind of just take over and they end up, being more detrimental than beneficial. And then, some people that were up 4 or 5 times their money were still holding it, and then it pulled back, and they never cashed out because greed got the better of them in that scenario. So it's always good to have a plan, like Angela just said,
Yep.
and you said it well. So all right,
So
let's.
let's move on to number 5, how to become consistently profitable when trading.
So again, that's the actually this is a great segue into this question is it starts off with a plan. You got to have a defined plan. You got to have a good handle on risk management. You got to be consistently risking the same amount, right? Each trade, otherwise it doesn't make sense. So you got to have a well-structured plan, a proven strategy, and a lot of practice on the charts. Obviously, what you put in is what you get out. So if you want to reach consistency quicker, I would say practice a proven strategy, and get good on the charts. Develop your skill.
Yeah, and I would say that you gotta have skill. You gotta have skill. At the end of the day, you could have a plan, you have all this, but if you don't have the skill involved, then you're not going to be successful. And the only way that you're going to develop the skill involved is if you put in some chart time. If
Yep.
you start doing practice examples, you test yourself on the demo, or test yourself on the live account. Um, it's the only way. You gotta change the mentality. You gotta change the way that you look at things, and in order to do that, you got to gain experience, like anything else. You got to throw yourself kind of into the fire. So, how to become consistently profitable, you know, give yourself a chance to be profitable when you're trying to go on live, risk 1%, risk 2%, so you can continue to take trades without shattering your confidence or obviously your account. So that's like one of the tips is just use risk management plan. And then, obviously you want to learn from somebody that's using something that works. If you're trying to learn on your own and you're trying to just gather things from a lot of different resources, I mean, that's fine. But at the end of the day, I think you're going to develop a little bit more confidence if you're working with somebody who has more of a successful strategy. And that's just kind of common sense.
Yeah, I would agree entirely. Definitely. All right.
Yep.
So, what are your guys' story, and what got you into trading?
I can go first with that.
Yeah, go for it.
So my story, I guess, so I got into trading because I think much like a lot of people, I was looking on the internet, ways to make money. But I think even before that, I was at my job and I was actually at an internship that it was just typical cubicles everywhere. It felt so dead. You didn't feel alive at all. And I was like, wow. And I was getting towards the end of school because I finished, university, and it was like, okay, well, is this it? Is this going to be pretty much? And I know there's much better, work life balances at different jobs and whatnot, but I was just thinking of it in terms of like, okay, this is definitely a low for me to be here, and people aren't excited about being here. And, I feel so alive, and here I feel so dead. So what am I going to do to get myself out of here? And then I started to like internalize that idea and say like, well, if I'm going to do this, like there's going to be a lot of work involved, and I'm going to have to really commit myself to something where just like in school, you know very little, and then over time you begin to gain confidence, and a lot more. So I just came across Forex on Instagram. I was just searching, ways to make money, but I was just searching kind of for like influencers and different people lifestyle, and seeing what people were doing. And this was one of the things that I was interested in. I had previously traded stocks, like I traded some stocks on my own, and I was definitely interested about that. More looking at I was trading companies. I think the idea of the Forex industry, how you're trading, global economies, and those are the fundamentals involved, and stuff like that, definitely interested me a little bit more. And then pretty much what I did was I just bought a course on Instagram, and from there I just, learned and just continued to network. I think that was important, and then
Yep.
that's kind of where I met Nick. And then, 2 years later, I put in a lot of work, and at this time, I'm happy with where I'm at, but there's always, more to go, because one of the reasons, or one of the main draws, is the unlimited potential. So yeah, that's my like short version of my story, and pass it over to you.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks. So that's his story. Very good. Hopefully inspired some of you. I mean, mine is, a little longer. I started about 6 years ago. I was in college too. Similar story to Angelo. And I found an influencer online who was trading, but he didn't have a course or anything. He just, was showing off that lifestyle. Of course, I got drawn into it because of the, same reasons anyone else does. You see unlimited potential. You're your own boss. You develop a high-paying skill, and so on. So he recommended Baby Pips first. I'm sure many of you have heard of it. I just went to that site first. It's a great free source of general Forex knowledge. But again, it is very general, where they just throw a whole bunch of things at you. It's a lot of random information, no real structure other than slowly exposing you to more complicated concepts. But so that was the first website I went through. Got hooked immediately, right? So then another influencer online or on Instagram was, offering, a course or some sort of mentorship. I got into it. Didn't really teach me anything. It later turned into an MLM company or whatever. Not IML, but a different one, and it actually ended up flopping. So I didn't get too much out of that. So I spent, probably 2.5, 3 years, kind of just learning as much as I can, still getting all general, strategies, trying to network with other people and stuff, and eventually just develop my own strategy based on what I knew, and then just practice like crazy over that period, and eventually got the hang of it, and slowly got better and developed my skill, up until the point that I'm at now. And I think I met Angelo around like year 4, and again
Mhm.
we're at year 6 now. So it's been a journey. It's been good. Again, learn from someone who has something that's proven, because it shows you how quickly you can, actually learn and accelerate in Forex, rather than learning it on your own and, risk wasting years and time of just learning nonsense and things you don't need to learn. Kind of like how I did. I feel like I had wasted some time earlier on. If I had more of a path to follow or a structured course, I feel like I would have been, at, a better point much sooner, the profitable point much sooner. But, it's, the cards were dealt, and that's fine. But now the good thing is that there are so many, professional traders that have now come out and made courses, or are here to help you and offer value. So definitely take advantage of that. But yeah, that's my story. Just got hooked on it for the same reasons a lot of you, find interest in it. So that's our stories.
Yeah,
And
you really gotta love it. I think there was so many times where I was never like I'd give up, but there was so many times where I was, really hopeless, and was like, wow, am I
yeah,
doing something I think the thoughts of, am I doing something that can't be done, comes into your mind a lot.
Mhm.
And I think like anything else, if there's one person doing it, someone else can do it. You could do it. So, stay confident. Stay down. Don't give up, because giving up, you're not going to give yourself a chance to do anything. Try to make it
Absolutely.
work. Try to make it work the best you can for you.
And surround yourself with other traders. It doesn't have to be a journey by yourself. Surround yourself in the right community.
Mhm.
There's tons of free chats out there. I mean, we have a whole bunch. We have on Discord. So guys,
Mhm.
immerse yourself. You're not in this alone if you're just starting or thinking about starting. So
Right. Let's
let's
go
keep.
to the next one. Tips to grow a small account.
All right. I think this kind of reflects back to question 5. It always comes down to growing any account comes down to consistency. You have to have a defined plan. I know some people always say small account thinking that they can risk more because it's less money or whatever. Where they'll take $100 account and they'll throw 20% in a trade. Like, yeah, sure, you could do that, but the likelihood of you losing that $100 $100 is pretty great. So again, I think the question would just be tips to grow an account, consistency. Making sure you have the proper skill level, making sure that you've done your practice, you've done your due diligence, and that you're ready to take on the market. Just having confidence in your plan and your strategy. That's how you would grow an account. I think
Yeah, so it depends what you're trying to do. If you're trying to risk, over leverage, and you're trying to grow that account, then what I would say is, only take your most high probability position, obviously. But I think if you're at the point where you have the confidence to over leverage like that, then to be patient. If you're just over leveraging because you're greedy and you're trying to get money, you're not going into it with the right mindset. You're not going into it with the plan. As
that's a
opposed
good
to
point.
someone who's confident but not overconfident. They're going into it knowing exactly what they're doing, exactly what they're risking. Um, so yeah, let's go on to the next one. Easiest strategy for beginners.
Easiest
Um,
strategy. Interesting. So I would say one that you just understand. There's not necessarily like an easiest strategy or one that works better than another, because everyone's style is slightly different. So here's an example. Angela and I have a very similar style of trading, but we'll still look at things slightly different. We'll still pull the trigger on a trade, for different reasons. Close, same using the same concepts and following price action based on what we know. But again, we'll still do things slightly differently. So the easiest strategy is one that makes sense for you, one that you've learned, one that you feel confident in. And I think that kind of goes in hand. If you're learning a strategy, find someone who you can relate to, who you think is going to be good at, conveying those concepts to you as a teacher from a mentor perspective. And then, everything else should kind of follow with that. If you can relate to the teacher and it's a good strategy, that would then make a lot of sense to you to then pursue. What would you say, Angelo?
I would say easiest strategy for beginner. I mean, you want to understand market structure, from our perspective. For us, we're going to always tell you to be trend trading. You want to trade in a trending market. So when you get down to those lower time frames, if you're trying to intraday trade, only be trading when the market's trending. If you're seeing a lot of consolidation, or you don't see structure clearly on that 1 hour 30 minute, you shouldn't be trading. So
Yeah.
just a trend trading strategy, breaks and retests, that's what we pretty much still trade on based off of. So have a way that you can identify structure, and then have tools that you can use, whether that's fibs or trend lines or support and resistance, supply and demand. You know, I'd say just learn one tool really well. Learn one tool really well, whether that's fibs. Really hone in on Fibonacci retracement, or hold in on supply and demand, because you could learn all the tools at once, but then you're a master of none. So that's why with Nick, there's some things that he uses that he's more confident in than I am. That's just because he's got more experience with them, with seeing that, and that's because it works better for the way that he understands things. So yeah, just kind of pick one tool, try to master that as much as you can, and build a strategy around that for you. And by doing that, you got to go on a back test, put that tool on there, look for positions based on the tool, based on areas that you're saying are, key areas, and then you kind of build your strategy from the ground up around that.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the slowest moving pair you guys have traded
I would
before?
say AU.
Definitely AU.
In
So
normal market conditions, outside of this high volume, high volatility phase because of news, AU usually close second. I would probably say NU, or say NU is pretty close. They move pretty slow. Usually will, you know, 1% will normally be, will seem like a double lot size because the stop loss is so close when
hold on
you're
one
trading
second.
it. Yep. So that's, yeah, AU usually is the slowest. NU is a close second. So all right, let's keep moving then. What is the most important advice you would give a trader starting now? So yeah, again, if you're just starting off, you don't have any bad habits yet. You're a blank slate. Find somebody that you can relate to, somebody that's, seems like their course is exciting, seems like people are having success with it, good reviews, good testimonials.
Yeah.
That is basically the most important advice. And also, don't take it to heart. Risk what you can afford to lose. Trading can be very, very fun and rewarding.
Hmm.
There's no reason that you should approach it with a negative mindset. It should be a positive thing. You're learning a skill set. It should be a good time for you.
Hmm.
And there's no reason you can't have fun learning it. So yeah, definitely get in a
Cool.
community and immerse yourself.
What's the let's go to the next one. What'd you do with number 10?
Yep. Yep.
Let's go. How many pips is good to risk in each trade?
Oh,
So
go ahead.
I'll answer this one. You can get the next one.
Sure.
How many pips is good in each? So it really just comes down to, again, what your strategy is. You want to always put your stops in a place where whatever the trend is, where if the price moves into that area where your stop loss is, that it's reversing. That you shouldn't be in the position, right? So it really depends. It just ranges. Every single trade should be different. I know in the beginning I was like putting my stops in 20 pips every time. Like people say do that. Like that's bullshit. Like every single position you enter in is going to be a different scenario,
Right.
different situation. Um, so how many pips is good to risk? It's going to change every trade. So yeah, let's go. What gives the green light to enter a trade?
So I always like to look for I'm sorry, 3 to 4 confirmations at the very least. Normally, I like to see a good fib level retracement. At least 3 time frames. In the trade in the direction that I'm trading. So bearish. I want to see that sentiment. And again, yeah, I just want the more confidence, the better. Yeah, so like 3 or 4 confirmations. I'm looking to get in, especially.
Oh yeah. So next one, how do you enter a trade when price is at an all-time high? So this is interesting. Like look at UCAD right now, look at gold. Maybe you could answer this one actually, Nick, kind of about gold.
Yeah. So okay, so it's an all-time high. All-time high for recently of all. I mean, oh, it says all-time high. Yeah. Then okay. So if it's an all-time high, price has never been there before. It's going straight up. You kind of miss the entry. If you weren't already managing a trade, you got to wait for a pullback. Otherwise, you're kind of risking a lot. You could throw a position onto it, but it's got to be reduced risk. You can't just be throwing 2% like a normal trade when you're at an all-time high. It doesn't make much sense because people are now in that shorting mentality as well, especially when it's at an all-time high. So if you think about it, excuse me, if you think about it from an all-time low, right? Or, if we're at a low for the past, if it breaks a record of the last 5, 10 years, if we're at a low, people are in that buying mentality. So that's just like the, psychology behind it. But from a technical standpoint, you want to wait for a pullback. There's no reason if the trend is that strong, it's gonna go form another all-time high. So you want to just wait for the pullback. Get in on a good fib level. Look for those confirmations because you're still gonna follow a strategy. Just because we're at an all-time high doesn't mean all our rules go out the window and we're just trying to start buying.
Hmm.
You gotta still have some sort of plan. You gotta be patient. This is when you're gonna want to practice some discipline and wait for that pullback.
Hell yeah. So next one, best pairs for beginners to learn to trade on. Should we focus only on one pair? That's a good question.
Yep.
So I'll answer this one. Best pairs would be, in my opinion, UCAD, NU. A lot of people say UJ to trade on. UJ can get pretty crazy. AU,
Yep.
is definitely a good pair because it moves so slow.
USIF is pretty good.
USAF, that's all I meant to say. USAF is pretty good. Um, I think when you're considering the pair, though, you also want to, are you going to scalp, you're going to intraday, you're going to swing trade. But those AU, USEF, NU, probably the top three, then UJ, those are pairs that create structure very clearly. You know, a lot of the major pairs though, really any of the major pairs, you know, you should be looking at. I wouldn't get into the exotic pairs until you're a little bit more confident,
Definitely.
because those pairs go
Yeah.
crazy. Should you only focus on one pair? Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't hurt. Focus
One or two to start.
on
Make
like
sure you
two.
back test them.
Yeah, focus on like two pairs. This would be my like short tip on what to do is focus on like two pairs, like Nick just said. Identify structure very clearly for both of those pairs. Go through a full back test, you know, 30 minutes or like however long it takes, like even longer, 3 or 2 months, like 1 month. Go through, test the strategy on there, then go on the live chart, see how your emotions are,
Yeah.
see how you react. You know, your entry should be fairly similar on the back test to the live chart. You're thinking the same way. You know what I mean? Just don't let your emotions take over once you get in there.
Very
So
true.
yeah, that's best pairs again, AU, USEF, NU, pretty much.
Yep, I would agree. So yeah, definitely go back test them, practice on those, and identify which time frame you see structure best on. So this last question here is, what is the best strategy for a beginner to make profit? I think this pretty much is the same question as 8.
Mhm.
Easiest strategy for beginners, but again, I'll say it again, as the best strategy is one that makes the most sense to you. You know, learn from someone who seems like they have a great community, like they're helping a lot of people, they offer a lot of value. You can relate to them, and that's where you kind of want to go. That's the path for you right now. If you don't have your own strategy yet, and you're just starting off, that's definitely the best first step to take.
Yeah, that's definitely the best. I'd say just start small, think big. You know, start small, think big. There's obviously a lot more to cover. You know, when it comes to
Of course.
everything, we just wanted to go through, do this quick kind of Q&A with you guys. Just give you an update on everything that you guys had questions on. There's a lot going on behind the scenes right now. You know, we're about to hop back in and obviously we're trading right now and everything, and people had questions around fibs and some other topics. We're not going to cover them at the moment. You know, we will say this: if you want, more information on the courses and everything that's kind of inside, we could go over it really quickly right now. But yeah, pretty much, our program has been helping a lot of people, so we're pretty confident in what we're doing at this point. But what I would say, one last tidbit of advice, from my end for you guys would be is to just join a community, whether that's our community, whether it's another community. Nick will tell you he was alone for a while, and it's very discouraging, to operate that way.
It's much more difficult. Yeah, it is definitely.
It's so difficult. So what we're doing right now is we're doing the full course is normally $499. This is everything included, lifetime membership, 50 course videos, premium signals, one-on-one training. We work one-on-one with you guys. If you guys are willing to hop on the calls with us, we will work with you one-on-one. That's something that's so important that people are looking for. So the one-on-one training's there. Trading plan, give you a full trading plan, about 35 pages. Obviously, you get the private chat, fundamental updates, webinars, 15 books, the live sessions. There's a lot here. And at the end of the day,
There is.
me and Nick are working hard, on our end. And we expect much of the same from our members, to get out what they deserve.
Yeah,
So,
because there's a lot in the course. There's a lot that's not even mentioned here too. Like we have a whole bunch of quizzes inside as well. Every section, there's review sections. We have performance updates as well. Goes along kind of with the one-on-ones. So
yeah.
like, there's a lot. There's a lot for sure.
There's a lot here. We'll be dropping some more testimonials, fairly soon. And like I said, we just wanted to hop on. Don't want to get too much into pushing this. There's going to be some deals coming out soon. You guys obviously know, or at least I would think that we did the 1 month, $1 this month. We got 50 people in here trying out the signals. They're liking it so far. So yeah, we'll just continue to share updates with you guys. And obviously, thanks for all your support. You guys hopping on and obviously showing some love to Forex League. We're still, we've been around for almost a year now, but we still got a long ways to go. So, we're not going anywhere. And, just like you guys, we're excited about the future, of this industry and where everything's going.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, thank you guys. Hopefully you guys got some value out of this. And I see some names that are familiar here. Hopefully we'll see some more of you in the Discord, jumping in some of the chat, and maybe even sharing some analyses.
Yeah, if you guys have any, if you guys are in the Telegram, if you guys got any questions, right now, you guys want to hop on, chat with us, real quick, I'm going to drop a link in here that you guys will be able to chat with us. Let me just look for it, see if I can find it. If not, you guys should be in the Discord at this point. If you're following us this closely, you definitely should be in the Discord. If you got questions around, what we're doing in the Discord or anything like that, then you should definitely reach out to us. Shoot us a DM. But I'm gonna just drop this link. We're gonna hop off the call in about 2 minutes here. But right now, if you have a question, you can click that link and chat with me and Nick. Um, following this call. So this is recorded. Everything is going to be uploaded to YouTube relatively soon. And again, these are all the questions for those rewatching. If you want to go back to any point in time, and watch again, this is everything that was covered. And yeah, pretty much that's pretty much it from us.
Yeah.
Oh
Cool.
yeah. So hope you
Thank
guys,
you, guys.
enjoyed. Hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, Forex League for life, baby. Yeah. All right. Catch you guys later.
Have a good one, guys. Enjoy the rest of the night.
Peace.